Hello. Hopefully I am live, and I just took a screenshot. I'm trying to make sure that my volume is up as best it can be. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully you can see me okay. Hey, Let Loose Figures, thanks for joining and stopping by. So today, the live stream, Phase Mass, thanks for joining and stopping by. Today's live stream is going to be different to my usual ones. Jonathan VDS, thank you for stopping by. So today's live stream is going to be an interview with a friend, fellow Gears of War lover, appreciator, collector and customizer. He'll be joining us at 8 o'clock, which is in about 10 minutes. I'm not going to try and pronounce your name, but thank you for stopping by, because that is a name that I know I'm going to completely butcher. So yes. So today's interview is going to be with a good friend of mine. His name is Norva Ragnor. If you've not seen me share his work now and again, he is super awesome, nice guy, just all round great person to communicate with. His customs are awesome. His videos that he started releasing are amazing. Hello from South Africa. Hello from the UK. He's very unique in what he does and what he loves. And this is going to be a chance for me to get to know him a lot better. This is the first verbal conversation we're going to be having. But it also gets the people who join in to kind of see what he's like as well. Oh, and speaking of which, he's in the chat already. Hello. Thanks for joining, mate. So in about 10 minutes time, joining in. And that's when the real great stream, which are UK massive in the house. Yes. Oh man, it's good. It's good. I didn't think, to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I genuinely used to believe that there wouldn't be a lot of UK Gears of War fans, because hardly anyone ever spoke about it much growing up, like when I grew up with it. Not many like kids at my school would talk about it, not many adults would talk about it. So, but yeah. Looking forward to this. This is going to be awesome. And like I said, it gives me a chance to get to know the guy personally a bit more. First verbal conversation, but it also gets a chance for everyone else to kind of see what he's like. Sidious 5 trailer will drop in mid-April. Good to hear. I never really seen... I've seen the first Insidious and that was it. I didn't watch the others. Didn't watch the others at all. But I like the first. So this series is going to be once a month. I usually do my live streams on my own, and there might be times where every 2 months I'll go back to doing my own kind of live stream, and then for 2 months I'll do interviews with people. I've got another interview set up for April, which is going to be cool. It's going to be cool. I look forward to doing this because I'm not really an interviewer. It's not what I do. But this is part of a series. I did episode 1 with my partner, my missus. We did it, I think, just before Christmas. And the series is called Getting to Know Your Community. Wrecked Customs, thanks for joining, stopping by. Well, my son grew up on it, took over from me. Nice. Good. Gears of War's got to spread through the love of family, But, it's just... I wanted to try and start getting to know more about fellow collectors, especially customizers, because, you get to learn tips and tricks. You get to understand how someone else does it. It might give you some help and future ideas, but it also might give inspiration to other collectors who want to start customizing. You see a couple of customizers talk about their way. It might go, well, I've always thought about trying. For me, customizing, 2 people I watched grow, I say growing up, but over the past 10 years, 2 people I watched was my boy, Captain Firebear Baker. He's the one that inspired me to really start doing gears. But the other guy, who sadly isn't with us, was Glenn Webb. Glenn Webb did amazing Marvel Legends customs. And even though he was a collector before customizer, he did amazing stuff. And seeing him customize figures made me want to customize figures, but I never knew which ones. And then I came across Baker's old YouTube channel, and I loved Gears of War from that point anyway. And I was like, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a Gears of War custom, because I wanted to put Major Chipazza from Small Soldiers. That was my first inspirational thing. Glenn Webb, rest in peace. Such a great, talented and funny bloke, and we lost him way too soon. He was awesome. I used to love watching his customization tutorials and his eBay like box hauls that he used to get of just bunches of Marvel figures. It was awesome. So yeah, so I thought doing this kind of series where I interview other collectors. Now, majority of people that I'm going to probably be interviewing do Gears of War stuff, but I am going to be interviewing people who don't do Gears of War stuff, just so that there's kind of different types of customizers, like there's I think the person I'm doing next month is called Simon Gleason. And he's a pretty cool, talented bloke on here. He asked about taking part in April, so I said yeah. RJ Collette. Do you know what? I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, so, and he's not really a big Gears of War customizer, but he does customize figures in general. So I just thought, yeah. So every so often, I'll be interviewing people who do Gears of War strictly, or Gears of War and other stuff, or just other stuff. So for anyone who's watching this, either now or after now, if you want to possibly do an interview, anyone who asks me first about people, I'm going to put down. And then obviously I'll let you know which month we'll do. And it's always going to be on the 22nd or the 23rd. It will always be around those 2 days where this stream will happen. But yeah, just let me know if you want to do one of these with me, and we'll sort it out. But yeah, 3 minutes to go. Oh, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be so cool. And it's weird because, like I said, I'm not a professional interviewer. Oh no, wait, something popped up on my phone. I don't know what it was. It doesn't say I've got a notification on here, so I don't know what it is. That's terrifying. But yeah, I've got the questions ready. And there's a secret question that he doesn't know about yet that I will ask at the end of the interview. But this stream should go for around about an hour plus. It shouldn't be longer than 2 hours. I'm going to try my best to not ramble on. I do ramble quite often. But yeah. So this should be good. I'm hoping it's good. And I'm hoping that Norva Ragnor enjoys taking part in this, because it's not something professional, but it's something fun. I know I look really weird, by the way, because about 2 days ago I had a really big bushy ginger beard, and it was starting to irritate, so I got rid of it, and now I look really weird. I look like a really sore toe. It's the only way I can describe it. I look like a very sore toe. I feel weird without it, but sometimes it can get too much. It was like down here, and I think we need the action figures remade again with better articulation and better plastic, as the plastic they used on the originals is so planned the amount of repairs. Oh man, if you're talking about like the original NECA ones, yeah, like for example, these guys, oh, the amount of elbow breaks, those joints suck. Ah, man, you're the big... Yeah, I know, I'm sad. I miss it. But hey, the best bit is it gets to grow back. Until it has to go again. Tubbs Collector, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Right, interview's about to start. Yeah, so brittle, so NECA, if you're listening, I wish NECA would get. Don't get me wrong, I love Storm collectibles, but I really want NECA to get the license back. Hello, thanks for saying hi. I appreciate that. Yes, here we go. Ready? Did it work? I pressed go live with. Yeah.
Hello?
You alright?
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. You?
Yeah.
Good.
Not bad.
Good. Glad you got it working. I thought I messed up because I clicked accept and then nothing came up. I was like, oh.
Yeah, mine went a bit. Not so sure what's going on there, but I think it's like cameras all a bit. See if I can.
I know. I prefer landscape, but Instagram is specifically portrait. It sucks.
Yeah. Trying to.
Let me.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that's good. So, and it's very awkward because not used to this.
No, it's the first interview I've ever done, so other than job interviews.
Well, hopefully it's not as awkward as that.
No, it shouldn't be. All good laughs.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you where do you see yourself in 5 years and give you the
No, that's right.
option of thinking doing your mum kind of joke.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah, those questions are horrible.
Yeah, no, it's they play on your mind because you want to say them, but you know you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right, so are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so question 1. What got you into Gears of War?
So, what got me into Gears of War? It was seeing the Gears trailer for the first time. The Mad World song playing, the atmosphere of that trailer, but it didn't show nothing. And that's what had me intrigued. Around that time, a lot of trailers shows you a lot of information, the story that you're going to play or watch if you're watching a movie trailer. So having the trailer not show you anything about the game other than the atmosphere of the game, I was, you know what, I'm hooked. Now, back in 2006 it came out. I wasn't a massive horror fan at that point of time. I enjoyed horror aspects of like Predator films, well, they're not really horror anymore, but the Alien movies, The Thing. I enjoyed them. So for me, enjoying the horror aspect of what Gears was going to be was a bit strange to me. But seeing the trailer had me intrigued, played the game, and I was hooked. And I think for me, the main thing was growing up. I grew up on the 80s styled, like sci-fi action movies. You know, yeah, like I said, Predator, Aliens, and you know, even in the 90s, Starship Troopers. You know, Soldier, which was a great film, and the Gears of War games was just a reminiscent of all of that into one. It was the big muscle-bound heroes that just looked ridiculous, but it was the Schwarzeneggers and the Stallone of gaming. It was great, and it's the one-liners, the brotherhood that the squad had was very much reminiscent of the 80s cheesy action movies, and it hit with me. That's exactly what pulled me in, and I've been stuck with it since. You know.
Yeah.
So.
It's got one of those. It's like you're right. The trailer is so minimal that it's enticing.
It was
because
you
don't know what's going to happen, but you want to find out.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest gaming trailers I've watched myself. And I think up until even Gears 4 trailer, their cinematic trailers played with music, all of them are outstanding. So I mean, Gears 5 is a bit of a different one, but you know, we'll leave that as it is.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Do too much of a good thing, man. Eventually, it starts different. But let's hope Gear 6 is different.
Yes, fingers crossed that they. It's I mean, Gears 5 wasn't a terrible game. I think for myself, I had overhyped it too much. The trailers that they played, it really gave us this impression that the story was going to be this really big conflict with Kate. Never happened.
No.
And I think for myself, that's what I was expecting. I overhyped it too much. And playing it didn't live up to my expectations, and that's what killed it. But I recently played through it with a couple of friends. And surprisingly, the story is still really weak, but the gameplay is a massive improvement. So they were going in the right steps. It's just the story for me wasn't great.
No, I think the character shift. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it being Kate's story, but when you go from the Phoenix arc into this other character, it's got to be done right. And the way they just switched from Gears 4 it being JD to now Kate, we weren't ready for that switch just in the next game. So
I think, because with Gears 4, you had JD, who he was Marcus's son, but when you were playing the game, he was just a replica of Nathan Drake. He was the stereotypical blonde-haired white guy throwing off one-liners, didn't take himself seriously. Now, in the media, that was everywhere. You know, Jurassic World, Star Wars, the Force Awakens. All the characters were exactly the same, especially white guys, for whatever reason. And I mean, main protagonists in most things, isn't they? So, but JD was just a replica of that time. He was just a stereotypical white protagonist in the game. There was nothing outstanding about him. He was no Marcus Phoenix. He was no Baird. He was no Dom. He wasn't even a couple. Each one of those characters have their own characteristics, which makes them stand out, and that's what makes the whole Delta Squad brilliant.
Yeah, I think Delta's got to be like the staple. When you think of Gears, like most people just say Marcus, but you don't. You think of Delta as a whole.
Yeah, it's all of them. Yeah, but then in Gears 5, they improved massively. JD, he was what I wanted him to be in 4. He was struggling to live up to Marcus and Anya's shadow. You know, you're the son of the hero of Sarah, and you know, the mother of the hero of Sarah. You know, so you're going to struggle with that. And they played on that really well, but then they kind of stopped it halfway through, and you don't see him again until the end of the game.
No, it sucks, but they're trying, and I'm glad that they're still trying at least.
Yeah, they've tried. Oh, sorry.
It's all right. All right. Question 2. What inspired you to collect the figures?
So, in terms of the figures, I didn't actually start collecting them until 2011, after Gears of War 3 came out. So, because when Gears 1 and 2 came out, I knew about the figures, but at the time I was in college, I wasn't earning anything, so I never had that real need or passion to be like, oh, I want these figures. Oh, sorry, fucking throat's gone dry. And then but after Gears 3, was around that time, you know, I've been in work for a couple of years at that point, and I thought the Gears 3 figure lines coming out, I'll get them. They look quite cool. And after getting them, it was a spiral downhill. After getting the Gears 3 line, I was like, I have to get the rest. You know, I can't just have the Gears 3 line. I need the Gears 1 line, the Gears 2 line. I need them all.
I 100% with you on the Gears 3 line. My first one was because I yet again grew up seeing the original ones, but I was too young, weren't allowed it. They were at the time too expensive at $14.99. Me, I wish now. Oh man, $14.99 for Anthony Carmine. It's like, it's
like $149.99 if you're lucky.
Oh jeez, yeah, it's terrible.
Ridiculous.
But then my missus got me my first Gears 3 bed in 2014, and I fell in love. Yeah. And I was like, nope. So I get it. Once you get the one, you're like, no.
Yeah.
You've got to have this epic collection. So
the problem is for us, by the time we started, all of the main NECA line of Gears 2 figures was so expensive.
Yes.
So it became an expensive hobby.
I just remember typing in General Ram on eBay and seeing like
Yeah.
the 110. I was like, ugh, why?
I mean, I don't know if you. I've got the 4 RAMs lined up here.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, I've been quite lucky with finding them. I haven't paid any more than 80 for a figure, and even that came in a massive bundle of other figures along with the crystal. They never got crystal, the Palace Guard, Pharaoh Palace Guard.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
as well as an opened 5 pack and just some other bits, all that for 80 quid. So I was like, that's
That's
a
not
right
bad.
bargain. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I
Well,
think I've managed to come across 2 ROMs. One was that 80 and one was that 40. And that's the best I've ever gotten.
it's not bad, yeah.
No, but it's ridiculous. I mean, I understand it's like because obviously NECA don't make it anymore. What's out there is out there. That's it. So people that have them are like, oh well, people will pay a lot, and then some people do. But it is good when you find them for decent
Yeah.
price, especially if there's a bundle with other stuff for that.
Yeah, I mean,
80 quid.
at the time I was just looking for RAM, and all the people were trying to say 120 like, opened, and I was like, I don't really want to spend 120 for an opened RAM. If I want to spend that amount of money, it'd be a sealed RAM.
Yeah,
So, and then I saw someone was selling a box bundle for 80 quid. So I had a look at it quickly, and it was when I saw all the parts that it came in with it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to take that. I was surprised no one had snatched it up sooner. But yeah,
yeah,
the Palace Guard RAM, the Hive Locust set, what was it? They were all opened, and I think there was a couple of the like the original Cole and the original Baird figure,
yeah,
which I'm not a fan of those 2 figures. I really don't like them. I have them in the Delta pack,
yeah.
the 4 pack, which I actually have down here. So I've got those 2 figures in that set, but I don't. Well, I did have them individually, but I gave them to the kids to play with, and
Yeah.
they just got trashed. So
Oh, but do you know what I think it was? Cole's articulation on top of his very unlikeness of
yes,
Cole was let down. And Baird just looks like he's been sniffing glue.
yeah, the early Gears figures look weird. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old NECA were as a company by the time they were doing the Gears figures. So, I mean, I'm guessing they were reasonably new, or
Yes.
so it could have been the fact that they hadn't got to grasp with the molding process. But yeah, those figures look. They,
But it always shocks me because like Dom is spot on. Like the Dom
yeah,
figure is beautifully well done.
Marcus is very hit and miss. You can get versions of him that look great, and versions of him that
Yes.
are like, this is Marcus from Wish. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Like the original sculpt is like Nicolas Cage cosplaying as Marcus Phoenix.
yeah,
When you see it, it's just you can
yeah,
imagine it. But then the cog tag holding Marcus and the angry face Marcus, the sculpts are beautiful on them.
yeah,
You really see Marcus
yeah.
in
The
those
angry face
faces.
Marcus is great.
Yeah, so they did well. But it's just
Yeah,
there.
they've improved massively over time. They have gotten much better. So
But even Gears Freebird, like he looks like someone has like squished his face. It's like very like
yeah,
sensitive. So I
yeah.
don't know
Because
what
I
happened.
think I had 2 beds, and one of them, one of them looked fine. The other one was a bit like, okay, something's gone wrong there. So
They just probably don't like him.
yeah.
All right, interesting question now. So, what is your Grail Gears figure?
My which story?
Your Grail Gears
Oh,
figure.
Holy Grail. The Holy Grail Gears figure will probably have to be this one. So it's the only one that I really kept in the packet. As a collector, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people thinking, well, keep them all in their packets, but nah.
No.
And but with this one, because I was looking for this figure for years, and I just could not find it. I think when I first started collecting in 2011, around then was when I started looking, and it was
Yeah.
only in the last 2 years that I've been able to find him, and I
Right.
found him, and I got him shipped from America, so it was a bit pricey, but for me it was worth it. And because of simply of how long I've had to look for him and how the price and it's that's my figure wise holy grail of my collection.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably the best Marcus out there.
yeah, and the fact
So I know.
it's him holding the cog tags.
Yeah.
It's so different to all the others. Like there's so many different versions of Marcus. I think there's about 4 versions of him in the Gears armor.
Yes.
And it's just updated articulation and different head sculpt are him in the chainsaw battle.
Yeah.
So there's so many different versions of him that are very similar, whereas this one is completely different. He's holding the cog tags. So it's just that uniqueness about that figure as opposed to the other versions of Marcus that are out there.
It's true, because he's like the Gears 2 poster, like the poster
Yes.
artwork
Yeah.
is that. And you also get to see that raw emotion in his face. Like, even though it looks blank, you can see he's hurting, that he's holding the tags of his fallen brothers and sisters on the field. And you can see that he wants to cry, but he won't, because he needs to continue. But I did notice you said Grail figure, which means you obviously have another Grail you want to show.
I do. So I've got the actual individual Holy Grail is the Gears 1 Special Edition. It's still sealed.
Oh, nice.
Again, such a hard thing to come by at a decent price.
Yeah.
So it was something that I was keeping an eye out for quite a while as well. And then when I eventually did see it, I had to take it. And just because of how rare that item itself can be, it's another Holy Grail of my collection. I've got the Gears 2, Gears 3 special editions as well, factory sealed still as well, but they're quite easy to get hold of, weirdly enough. Like,
yes,
the Gears 2 special edition is like worth 20 quid on online. You can get it so easily. Same with the Gears 3 one is about 50, 60, 70, depending on when you look. But the Gears 1 was, I think I was seeing it at the point like 180, 200 quid. And I was like, as much as I want it, it's a bit too pricey for me.
Yeah.
I can't warrant spending that much money when the game brand new wasn't even that price. So, but I think for me, I found that about 70, 80 quid. So even that was still pushing the price a bit, but it was the first one I'd found in about a year. So I was like, it's a decentish price. I can afford it. Okay, let's do it. So,
I mean, for factory seal as well.
Yeah.
And complete and everything, it's definitely worth. I'd say it's definitely worth quite a bit of money, but to the prices that you were seeing, I thought no.
So as much as I'm a Gears fan as I am, like, I'm not going to be throwing stupid money at stuff because it's ridiculous. Scalpers out there are just idiots.
Yeah, and I get moaned about that. I moan about scalpers and they go, "Oh, well, it's their right and they paid money for it." It's like, yeah, but they didn't pay as much as they're asking.
No,
you can be a little decent.
Yeah,
but
you can make a little bit of profit, but
yeah, that's true. Exactly, it's okay to make a little bit, but when you're like tripling the price, no.
It's scalpers. Less said about them, the better.
It's true. But that Gears of War 1 limited, is that the tin with like the bonus disc and the art book?
It is, yeah. So it's the special edition, and it's because I've got them all opened as well, and I've got them factory sealed as well. So at the moment, my collection is still locked away, like it's in boxes at the moment. I haven't been able to get it out properly, but I'm hoping that in the next sort of couple of months, I'm able to get it out. So. The collection, that is, and once I've done that, I'm gonna on my YouTube I'm gonna show a video of all my collection and have them all sort of just with each other. The opened one, have all the bits, all the content in it open in on the shelf alongside the sealed version. So
that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my collection varies. I've got the replica, the snub pistol replica. I've got the rifle, which a lot of Gears fans have, all the way down to a Gears of War credit card, a Gears of War, Gears of War tea towel, breath mints, plasters. You name it, I've got it. It's ridiculous because I used to. there was a stage where I would just type in, you know, all the web searches, Gears of War merchandise, and it would just come up, and I'd buy it, you know, and the partner would be like, why? Like, why do you need Gears of War breath mints? Are you going to eat them? No. Well, why buy them? Well, it's part of my collection. You know, the tea towels. She's like, oh, can I use it in the kitchen? Like, hell no. Why have you got it then? Oh, to go in my collection. So, yeah, she's not too happy with some of this stuff, but
I would have bought 2 of the breath mints, open one, just gone, tastes like Marcus.
It tastes like locusts. Ground up locust bones.
It wouldn't surprise me if some Gears desperate for food, locust laying there, just screw it.
Yeah.
It's neat.
So I brought, because they did the Gears Free Emulsion energy drink. I don't know if you ever remember those. And I brought 2. The idea was I was going to have one kept for my collection. I was going to drink one, and obviously just to see what it was like. But I never got round to drinking it. And then it ended up going away with my collection. And there's, you know, stuff happened where I had to move out, and my stuff was in a lockup for a couple of years. And then when I came across it, I completely forgot about it. And I was like, well, I've had it for about nearly 10 years now. There's no point in, no, I'll just keep it. I'm not going to drink it after 10 years.
No.
That's dangerous.
No,
But
no.
that's, yeah. I'm brave, but not that brave. But, yeah.
Oh, jeez. All right. Question 4. What is your personal favorite custom you have made?
Ooh. There's a few. I mean, my latest one would probably be by Mario. I had so much fun making this guy. It was just a lot of fun. The idea for him, it came about by accident actually. It was around Christmas time, and my kids were in a toy shop, and I saw him. I just, you know, and I thought, oh, that'll make a pretty interesting custom. So I you know, it was 10 quid. So I thought it's not a lot. Okay, I'll throw that down. And then in the new year, I started doing some preparations for him. And the original plan was I was just going to do Mario, but then after doing the preparation work and some concept art that has been on my Instagram, if anyone is a fan of mine on there and they've seen it. It was then that I was like, actually, I want to do more. So I planned, you know, Luigi, Bowser, Princess Peach, I believe it is. Peach or Daisy, the main. I can't remember which one. I'm not that big of a Mario fan. And now it's gotten worse because now I'm thinking of, well, I've got a cog force. I need a locust force. And now I'm thinking of doing, like, getting all the different coloured Yoshis that there are. Because I think there's like you got the standard green, you got the blue, yellow, pink. And thinking of having them is like the locust or the behind Bowser, and it's getting a bit out of hand, out of the Mario customs here. But I mean, not all the parts go to waste either. It's a little Marcus Mario. But
awesome.
Yes, I mean, I'm currently in the process of making Luigi as a custom, and unfortunately the paint colours aren't that good. I'm struggling to get the paints right because so I thought Luigi was bright green, but he's not. He's like a dark lime green.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not that great of an artist, so trying to mix colours is for me, it was a bit like, yeah, this is like rocket science. So I did the best I could. I've kind of matched it. It doesn't look like the proper Luigi colour, but as a Gears figure, I think it kind of works because it's like the dark greenness of it. So
exactly,
that's how I'm going. You know, happy accidents, and so that's my take of it. But so another one is, other than Gears figures, I actually quite like the horror figures. I don't know if you can see the setup there of all the horror NECA stuff. I made a horror Reaper guy using, basically, I think I used the coat was from a wrestling figure, the body was from a wrestling figure, the skull was from the Predator line, and he had like body armor over him. If you take his coat off and that came from a Spawn figure. I can't remember which one, but I mean it's the one that this axe comes from as well. So I just the axe itself was like light brown, so I kind of darkened it up, toned it up, and yeah, gave it a bit more character to it. And that was just because I wanted to have a figure that I created to go up against Jason and Michael, and so I just thought I'd try my hand at horror figures, and it's turned out quite alright. Yeah, and the other ones, obviously, my Ram ones. Ram being my favourite Gears character, obviously the one that inspired you to make one of yours.
Yes.
So, so a Pharaon Ram. I mean, I should have done what you did and just put his head on a Pharaon.
Yeah, I was so lazy.
Yeah, I actually this is a full Ram character, but I just painted it red and then like sort of dusted it up and dirtied it up a bit.
But the thing is, you wouldn't have known if you hadn't said that. No one would have known.
No, well, I appreciate it because painting is a bit of a weak spot for me, but yeah,
no, it's beautiful.
But then obviously I've got the standard Ram, then my gilded Ram. He is a bit dusty at the moment. Need to give him a bit of a wash. But he was one of my first customs. I believe he was actually my second custom that I ever did. So I mean, it's quite easy, just black and gold. But it's doing all the fine tuning on the gold. It took ages.
Yet again, you said the easy custom. It doesn't look so easy, but you've done such beautiful, clean line work on it, and I like that.
Oh, thank you, man. And then the opposite version of him, the heroic version, who was an absolute ball ache. Was painting in white, horrible. So.
Yeah. I when you go to Games Workshop and you ask for like whites, they always tell you they don't have white, they have off white, because white paint is a really difficult color to try and paint with. So you get off white, which is just like a dirty white, close to light grey.
Yeah, but I want white.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of my custom, those three are probably my favourite ones that I've made so far. So.
They are beautiful. I said the thing that I've always liked about your work, and I said one of the first customs I saw you make for Gears was one of the New Day guys.
Oh yes.
And I tell you what, for a Gears custom, I have never seen such like clean, close to the sculpt line like paintwork. You would not tell it was painted.
Yeah, it was
so
Xavier Woods from New Day.
Oh, so good.
I've yet to make the other two. I've got the heads, and I've been meaning to do the other two since I did this guy. But I think it was a lot of work doing him, so it kind of burnt me out a little bit. So I kind of stopped, and I just haven't. Yeah, since then there's been other ones that I've done, but I will get back to them.
Oh yeah, when you run out of other stuff to do, and you've got a lot of time, and you need something to fill it. That's when you're like, do you know what?
Yeah,
let's get into that. But overall, for everyone who's watching, if you really haven't, go and check out his work on Instagram. It is so good.
Cheers, man.
No, it's just truth. I sit down, I say it to my missus as well, but like, watch this. What's it done? I was like watching your video about the Mario as well.
All right, yeah.
I can't do this shit. I'm trying. It's so good.
Yeah, the Mario video is up on my on YouTube. If anyone did want to check it out, Norva Ragnor still, so check it out.
I'll be linking it when the stream's over.
Yeah.
I'll be linking you on YouTube. It's all right. All right. Question 5: is there a figure you would like to see made that has not yet been made?
Oh, I mean, I really wanted a Queen Myra. I know Storm Collectibles have released a prototype figure of her. Whether that's going to be released or not, we don't actually know because we haven't heard anything more. But in terms of Locust, it's Queen Myra. You know, we've got Ram, we've got Scourge. I mean, they did a brief Judgment line they just did Judgment Bears.
Yeah.
Even if they did Khan, that would have been a pretty cool one to have just for the villains. But it just bugs me that we've got all of these Locust characters, and if you're someone that likes to army build and you buy multiple duplicates of these, you know, like you have 100 drones in your army, 100 boomers. I mean, I've seen some people on Instagram who have their collection and they've got 4 or 5 boomers and they're building this massive army and it looks incredible. But you can have Scourge leading them, you can have Ram leading them, but you want Myra there. You want Myra in the background, you know, pushing the charge and telling Scourge and Ram to, you know, but for me, it's Myra. Yeah, we want Myra is definitely a figure that I would love to have for the collection. As soon as Storm Collectibles do release her, it pre-orders straight away.
Yeah,
so
guaranteed.
Yeah, and I think on the COG side, the one thing I was disappointed at was how, like I said earlier about the variants of Marcus, we've got loads of versions of Marcus, loads of versions. We've got 2 or 3 versions of Dom, Bed, Cole, no Ty, no Dizzy. Where are they? you know, like
it's true. There's lots of missing characters.
Yeah, and I would have thought that, but I understand. And in terms with NECA, they do a lot of reusing their parts for their figures, so it keeps the prices down. So that's probably why they didn't give us a Dizzy or a Ty, because they probably couldn't use parts again. They had to make new molds. I mean, if you look at the Jace figure that came out, he is basically just Jace's head on Marcus's body. It looked ridiculous. But I'd rather have the figure look ridiculous than not have it. So
that's true. But they actually could have made Gears 3 Jace.
Yeah.
Because the majority of his armor is Cole's, just grey.
Yeah, they could have easily done something to mold, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know the process they go through to making the figures, so I don't know what it is that actually did stop them from making it. But
yeah, I reckon, because I mean, they had prototypes of Jack, they had a prototype of Berserker. They were going to do the Butcher and the Grinder, and then it all just came to a halt.
Yeah, which is frustrating because you got the Boomer, you got the Mueller. We want the set. Yeah. So that's great. I mean, their Jack figure looks great as well. It looks really good.
Unlike my 3D printed attempt.
I've still got my one. He's up here. I've yet to paint him. I got him for a side project, but yeah, like I said to you the other day, the last couple of weeks, I mean, the illness just comes. I'm still getting over it now. That's why I'm coughing. So I haven't been able to do, because I was hoping to have my Luigi figure finished, because I was going to do a quick preview of him here, which would have been great. But obviously I've been ill for the last week and I haven't been able to do anything on him, so it's a bit frustrating. But
you've been ill for a while now, haven't you? It's been going around quite a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, last month I was ill for 2 weeks, and then I've been ill for the last week. I don't know what the hell's going on. Someone put some major voodoo on me, so I don't know who.
It's just been one of those years. So every year it's something different. So
yeah,
you know. And you know what it is? It's because you want to be busy. Because you want to be busy, you're ill.
Yeah. So normally I don't do much, but it's sort of like, not ill, but the minute it's like, got some stuff to paint, no, you're ill. Okay,
yeah,
never
exactly.
mind.
It knows. It waits. It lingers.
Yeah.
All right. So this question, I think I already know, but I want to hear it from you. So question 6, what is your favorite Gears line?
What, between NECA and McFarlane and Storm?
Yeah, so between, it could be the Mega Constructs, it could be the Bionicle of War that Ashton's reviewed.
Bionicle of War. Oh, God. Damn. Yeah, I remember watching that episode and just thinking, geez, how did they get away with it? But
yeah.
Damn. But no, I think my least favourite is McFarlane. which is weird because when you look at the McFarlane figures now, they're incredible. I mean, there's a mutual friend that we have that I talk to quite a bit, and he's always showing me his collection that he's got of the Batman figures they're doing and the new ones that they're showing, and they look great. The articulation of them is really good quality. I mean, even back before they did the Gears figures, they did the Halo line, and those figures were really good. So I never understood why the Gears line were crap. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the detail on those figures was incredible. So detailing wise, if you wanted them for a statue on your shelf or wherever, just a part of the collection, they're incredible. But in terms of being branded as figures, no. I think the only one that I have still is the Marcus Phoenix version. But one, it's Marcus. Two, like his figures looks good. He's just standing there. There's no articulation in the legs, only in the arms. He's holding his gun. I mean, generally speaking, most figures are posed that way. So it's like, if I was going to pose him, that's probably how I'd have him. So I've kept that one. But I actually made my own Gears 3 or Gears 4 Kate, which I used. I used parts of the McFarlane Kate and Anya, because obviously she uses Anya's armor in Gears 4, so it makes sense. The only thing that lets it down is my artistic skills and being able to draw her tattoo. So I just haven't attempted it because I'd rather it not be there than ruin it. So, but other than that, the actual figure, all the parts are all there. Even the necklace around the neck, that was the right chore getting off of, because it's a solid piece. So I had to cut it in half, hollow it out. And I did the same with JD. So I basically put JD's head on a Marcus body and added some stuff from the McFarlane figure. I've still got to do the same for Dell, but I just haven't got around to doing it yet. So JD and Kate have actually been finished, which I think there are pictures on my Instagram. So if people do want to check that out, feel free. But then the next line, I'd probably say NECA is the next line up. I mean, I love the NECA figures. The articulation is good in the later figures. In the older ones, it's a bit like we were saying earlier about the Cole. But I mean, even with the Locust figures, the articulation is very weak below the hip. So there's just no knee articulation. It's more on a swivel, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why they did that. There's no ankle articulation. The boot is one solid unit, and it isn't a problem. It's like the detailing is there, but again, in terms of articulation for poses and if you want, especially wanting to do photography with it, you're very limited in what you can do. So that's the only reason for me, Storm. I mean, there's some Storm figures here. I do have the full set, but I couldn't find Kate. I don't know where she's gone. She's probably in one of the boxes buried under all my stuff. So, but I mean, just the detailing in these guys, it's just incredible. And the articulation doesn't get in the way of the detail at all.
No.
So they've managed to do it where you've got this full articulation. It doesn't impact any movement of the figure. The armor doesn't impact any of it, and they're done really well. And I think my favourite Storm figures, actually, surprisingly, is the Disciple. Which is weird because Tactics was an okay game, but I just love this figure. The detail in this figure is incredible. I absolutely love it, and to the point where I even brought a spare one with you a couple of months back. So, I liked him that much that I wanted to have a couple more of him. So, So, I'm looking forward to see what Storm do in the future if they do bring out the new line. So,
I think there's meant to be a remaster game collection. I think they are trying to do the Marcus Phoenix collection, and I think what they're waiting for is they have made the mirror and they have made a Wretch and they're doing Dom.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to wait until either some more Gears of War news comes out when it's popular, because when they release it, it'll be when Gears of War is back on the hype train. Therefore, everyone's going to want to buy the new figures.
Yeah.
I think we are going to get it, but the problem with Storm Collectibles is, well, there's three. One, they don't respond to any of the people who want information. They won't respond to anyone. Two, they're too busy working on Mortal Kombat, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage. Like, they're doing all the fighting game figures first.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like Tekken, Mortal Kombat figure lines. So,
and they're good figures, but for the Gears of War fans who really enjoyed a lot, like you said, you've got them all. I've got them all now as well. They're good figures, and we want, especially Mira. Like, he's the one that we need the most, as you said.
Yeah.
And I completely agree, because we've got Delta, we've got Hoffman, so we've already got the pretty much complete gear side of our collection.
Other than Prescott. But
do we need Prescott?
We don't need him, but if you wanted to complete the authoritative side of both Cog and Locust.
That is true.
But yeah, I mean, Hoffman, Marcus, that's more, you know, we don't need Prescott. But
well,
if they made him, I'd buy him. So,
yeah, no, same.
But
Adam Phoenix,
he's not one I'd ask for.
I want Adam. I mean, you can either give us the science version, or
Yes.
you can give us his armor version. Either one we'll be happy with.
Yeah.
But
I mean, because they could give you the science version, and you could buy duplicates of him, put his head on a Marcus figure. You got armored Adam. Put Baird's old man Baird on the science figure. You got scientific Baird.
do you know what? I still believe that Adam Phoenix got up to some naughty crap with Baird's mum, because old man Baird is Adam Phoenix with goggles.
Gear conspiracy.
Identical. Yeah, it's got to be. I mean,
Could you
Marcus
imagine?
doesn't look anything like Adam.
Marcus and Baird being brothers.
They argue like real brothers. So I can honestly see
Yeah,
it.
they do. Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, Storm Collectibles, I will admit, have completely knocked the Gears of War figure line, because I think it's the mixture of rubberized plastic as well as just soft plastic.
Yes.
Where, as you said, the armor can be manipulated in a way where it doesn't take away from the fact that it still looks really good. McFarlane, what the hell? I've got some of their figures, and the articulation is outstanding. And then he does four, and the articulation sucks.
Well, there's a lot of people were posting videos of their the Kate figure, because her whole body weight is held up by one ankle, and a lot of people were getting theirs, and the ankle joint was bent up, and it was like, what the hell? It makes no sense to me. I don't know why they decided to go down that route instead of giving us an articulated version. But
I think the only thing I can think of is that there was no love for the franchise, that he could, like, it wasn't one that he was like.
Yeah, maybe they didn't invest too much in it.
Yeah, it's like he always invests in the things that he knows he's going to do a long set of, and I think for him it was kind of like. But I agree. The Marcus McFarlane figure is probably the best one they've done in terms of articulation. But he's actually really good for Onyx Guard building. If you just want to do like a little squad of like that figure specifically, it's really good for Onyx Guard building.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the only issue I had with Storm Collectibles was the Warden figure. Now, I got mine. I mean, he cost about, with shipping, it was over £100. So when I got him, I was excited. No, I opened him up. I thought it was great. The detailing was great. And when I had a really close look at him, I was a bit annoyed, because for £90 starting price for the figure, majority of the crystals on it weren't painted.
No.
So I felt that was such a cop out, because it's like we're paying you such a high price for this figure, and you can't even paint. I mean, easily enough we can paint it ourselves, but shouldn't have to. You know, it's not something to take anything away from the figure. It's just a little yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine because it's when you're looking up close, a lot of the crystals are brown, but like from the material, you know, and it's like they could have easily just put some paint on it. But
Exactly. I mean, if all the other figures from the Cole, the Marcus Phoenix figures, even the Kate, even the Disciple's got, even in his accessories, is
yeah,
stunning.
yeah,
So
I can't fault anything else in the Storm Collectibles line. They're all great. The fact that the Marcus' pistol is magnetic is great. It's such a good feature.
yes,
And I'm hoping that they do add that feature to the main weapons on the back at some point if they can. But yeah, I just don't sorry, I just don't understand the lack of painting on the Disciple. It really, it's the one thing that would stop that figure from being a 10 is just that lack of paint.
yeah. I don't know if you had the same issue with your Warden that I did, but like even standing him is a pain in the ass. Like his feet aren't as sturdy.
Yeah, it takes a bit of manoeuvring to get him to stand up. Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because you can get Cole in a running pose on 1 foot very easily without hesitation.
Yeah.
But the Warden will not stand on 2.
That's bizarre, but
It doesn't make sense.
nah.
But yeah, like Storm, they definitely they knew what we wanted for Gears
Yeah.
figures, and they considered photography and they considered customization because Storm figures are so easy to take apart and replace and switch around. So that benefits people. Like
Yes, exactly.
All right. So, question 7: is there a figure line you prefer more than Gears?
I wouldn't say there's a figure line I prefer more, but sticking with NECA, I really like their horror line. I've got all of their Ultimate Jason Voorhees that they've done from the Friday movies. I've got Michael Myers from Halloween Kills. I've got Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, because I didn't like. I think there's one of the figures where he's all the souls on his body. I wasn't a fan of that figure, so the one version for me is fine. And I've got my favourite horror movie is The Thing. So they've recently started doing figures for those. So I've got them as well. You know, the RoboCop line they did, and a recent one that I've got into is they did the 8-bit versions from the NES games. And I started collecting those ones, and I thought I had the whole set. I've got the Jason Voorhees, Nightmare, and Freddy from Nightmare, and Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw, and then I got the 8-bit RoboCop, and I thought I had them all. And then a friend of mine was like, well, actually, there's these Predator versions. And it's like, right, okay, I didn't know about them. So, okay, well, I best go get those ones then. So, as well as I've got some Predators as well. So, I mean, yeah, so I tend to stick with NECA, just because I like the horror line, and the figures themselves just look great. So
yeah. There's one thing I can say about NECA as well is that over the years they have improved on all of their lines in articulation.
Yeah,
they've tried their best, even with RoboCop, because some of the original ones were a bit stiff, very lacking, whereas their newer ones have gotten a bit more, I don't want to say looser joints, but like smoother movement. They're not as tightly wound up anymore to where if you move it will snap.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of the Predator figures still do that.
Yeah, I mean, I brought a Predator figure a couple of months back, and by the time I got him home, his like knee joints were the connection was bent like that, and it's like, what the hell is this? Brand new packaging, and it's like, so it's like, okay, well, it's something I've got to try and figure out, heat it up, and I'm sure I can fix it, but
and the common gauntlet peg being snapped. That's such a.
So I've got the NECA did a God of War line as well. When the 2018 game came out, they did a set that came in the whole box with Kratos and Atreus, or Atreus, however you pronounce his name. And I brought it second hand, which is always a bit of a, oh, I don't know with NECA figures, because I got it through, and Atreus's arms are all a bit weird, but the joints are really loose, and it's like, oh, and Kratos's hands have been glued, or one of his hands has been glued, where the joints obviously snapped, and it's like, it was never claimed. I mean, the amount of Gears figures that I brought that you get, and you go to move the arm, and you're like, nope, that's been glued. I think I've got two figures that are like, I think one's a Cog Soldier and one's a Kim, where the arms have been glued, and it's just like, oh, come on. It's like, if it's been glued, just put it in the description, let us know.
Yes.
But, ridiculous.
I hate, you know, if they put like figures damaged and stuff, you know, if they lower the price, we're willing to at least shift on a price, we're willing to still buy, because, you know, we can fix it somehow, we can make use. But no, when they just sell it saying, you know, oh, it's fine, and then you bring it in, it's no. I think
no, it's
the one time that happened is when I got my first Scourge.
All right.
And, there was like it came with the broken weapon. It only had the 2 chainsaw heads and one of the handles, but none of the poles.
Oh, right.
And I was like, okay, maybe I can work with something. You know, I can just use a cocktail stick and make the staff piece, not a problem. But then I noticed the shoulder wouldn't move, and I've gone, right, maybe the factory like seal that is like stuck, whatever. Yeah. No, the flashlight, you can see this crusted yellow stuff. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I messaged the guy and said, look, it's glued. He goes, no, it's not. So I sent him the picture. He said, it's still not. So I literally broke the glue just to show him that there was glue on these. And he's gone, oh yeah, sorry about that. I'll send you something back. But yeah, weirdly enough, Scourge and Cantus is just a little tip for anyone who's watching, including you if you ever need it. Very easy to fix the shoulder pegs. It's one of the head pegs for bed. All you do is remove the plastic on the shoulder, drill a hole, super glue the peg into the hole, and it just pops straight on and start working. That's how I fix my Scourge.
That's all right.
A lot easier.
Yeah. I mean, I had it. I brought a sealed Marcus body, because I had plans for a custom, and I was like, okay, buy the body. It was sealed in the packet, decent price, fine, okay. And by the time I got it, the figure was smashed to pieces. Like, his foot was come off, or his arm had come off, and I was just like, what the hell's happened to this? And when I showed pictures and sent it to the guy, and he was like, well, you can see in the pictures of buying it's a proper thing, and it's like, yeah, but is it the same one, or has Royal Mail actually beaten the crap out of this? And I was like, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's so the problem with buying online. This is why I think me and you might be the same here. Buying in store is so much better than buying online, because we can really see what we're getting. Whereas online, they can show you an image of a really good one, but send you something completely.
I mean, all they got to do is have duplicates, and they can take a picture of the good one, send you the crap one.
Exactly.
So,
it sucks, but you know, sometimes we have to rely online for.
Yeah, sometimes. But 90% of the time, buying online is fine. It's just you get the odd bad ones. So.
That's true. Actually, speaking of which, Simon Gleason just said there are like Gears of War 1 original Marcus clones that did break on their way, so it could have been a clone, but the clones aren't bad, because I've bought one before. The only thing that's off about the clone is that it's like the skin tone is really pink, like really pink.
Yeah.
But other than that, the body's the same. It's identical. You just repaint the skin tone, put a helmet or a
But if you're using it for a custom, I'm not sure. I don't think bootlegs are that bad, you know.
No.
Yeah, but as long as you know, I mean, if you're expecting to buy something that you're expecting to be an official one, and you're paying official prices, and it comes with a bootleg, then that's
that's yet again, online sellers sometimes can just do you the worst.
Yeah.
Right, question 8, a bit of a different question. Would you collab with any other customizers on a project, or do you prefer to work solo?
I've only done solo work so far. I haven't actually had anyone come up to me and say, let's collab. I mean, if someone wanted to, I'm sure I've got nothing against doing it. As long as I feel that whatever it is that they want me to do is within my skill range.
Yeah.
I try to be as humble as I can in terms of my skill. I don't want to beat myself up, then get it and be like, actually, this is crap. I thought it'd be better.
Yeah.
So, I try to be as humble as I can within my skill range. I'm aware of what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if the opportunity arose, I'm sure I've got no problem doing it. It's just whether or not it'll happen.
Yeah, fair enough. It's like sometimes it's a bit difficult because obviously when you're doing your own work, you're your own judge, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And you're right. Working with someone else, you're kind of like, oh, if they do a job that looks better than mine, I'm going to feel like I've really failed. But I just mean like in general, like, working on a custom project together, or like someone's making a diorama, but they would like you to customize a figure to go with it, and they're like, oh, just paint it whatever way you'd like, as long as it can kind of fit in the diorama kind of situation.
I mean, if it was something along those lines, sure. Like with anything, you would plan it out, you would go through everything. So, but if it was just something a simple paint, yeah, there's no problem. But if it was like, oh yeah, I want you to build me this figure, it's like building a figure is a bit different to gluing parts on, painting it. If it was like, oh, someone was to be like, oh, could you make me a Mario set? Mario, Luigi, whatever. Well, I know I can do that, so it would be okay, But I'm making a Mario diorama. Can you do me a Mario Gears figure? Yeah, sure. As opposed to, oh, I want you to build me a Brumac. No, like, that's a bit out of my skill range. So.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I wanted to ask you that question just because I got hit with a random message from someone saying that they were working on a custom, but they wanted me to like help make the other half of it. And in my head, I went, that doesn't make much sense, because if you're already working on it yourself, you know how you want it to look. Asking someone else to do your vision on half of one is not going to work. So I was wondering if like, some people are willing to like do it, but
I suppose it depends on what it is they want you to do, because it could be the case that if they've got a like, for example, there's what's his name? There's a locust one that you sculpted a load of clay work for.
the Berserker.
No, not the Berserker. He was a character.
Shrug.
Shrug is a good, but it wasn't Shrug. It was Germad.
Oh, yeah.
Germad, yeah.
I forgot I didn't.
Yeah. I know what you've done more than you do. But because like if it was someone was to be like, I want to paint it, but I want you to sculpt that for me. I mean that, I suppose. Cause it could be a case that they're not confident with their ability in sculpting, so they've seen you can do it. Oh, if you don't mind doing it for me, and then I'll paint it. It could be something along those lines. And I think that's fair. But I can understand the confusion if you're not 100% sure on what it is what half they want you to do. But,
I think the way they were looking at it was they were working on a torso and they wanted me to work on the legs, and then they wanted me to send the legs back to them so they could put it together.
Right.
And I was like,
legit half and half.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like a collective.
Oh, right.
He wanted someone else to work on a helmet, which I kind of felt a little bit offended about because I've been doing a lot of helmets lately. Because I didn't mind the helmet so much, but it wanted me to do legs. I was like, I don't do legs that often.
Yeah.
It's part of the whole. And I was like, well, do you know what color scheme you want? He goes, no, just paint it however you want. That's where the confusion was getting once.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It's difficult to know, but I think solo work personally, like just you in your own element. If it's for someone else, even because they kind of ask you what you want, and then you kind of know what you got to do, and you can get it done. But I think collaboration work in terms of if someone's doing a big set and they're like, hey, I need 4 guys to make 4 customs and make a big project. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, it depends on what it is that they want you to do. I don't understand why they would want, unless they wanted like a figure based on 3 different people's versions of something.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, like I know, for example, if they're to be like, let's do a Roman style figure, you do the legs, I do the torso, you do the head, and you have the 3 different versions come into one as a mix match kind of figure. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it confuses me as well, like why. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Then I within the figure making community, I'm quite new to it, so I don't actually have much contact. I mean, I speak with yourselves, a couple of other people I speak to, but not a lot. So I don't think my work's out there yet. So I haven't really got many people coming to me asking for collabs or so. I mean, maybe in time, who knows?
You will. You 100%. You will. Especially after you've shown the Rams, you've shown the Xavier Woods, you've shown all that now.
Yeah.
So people are going to see.
No turning back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Better question. Question 9. Do you have a favorite customizer or collector that you watch or talk to? And I'm not included in this, by the way. I wanted to make sure it wasn't. It's not me.
I mean, in terms of, I don't actually watch many collection videos. I tend to watch a lot of videos that I do watch are diorama videos. Because that was originally what got me into custom making. Because I had this idea of, I didn't want my collection to just be on a shelf. I didn't want it just to be on a standard shelf, just figures standing there. I wanted to display them in a certain way. Like I wanted to tell a story in the display. So I started watching diorama videos, and I think a lot of the ones that I did watch was Luke Gowen, I believe his name is. He's Australian. He does a lot of miniature stuff, but a lot of the painting techniques that I do, I actually learned from him, because again, my artistic skills are basic as anything, and so a lot of the stuff that I do, I learned from watching other people, or you know, so yeah, that was what got me into custom making. So I watched him, but I haven't watched anything of his in a long time, but that's yeah. I started doing that. I started planning some diorama builds, and I mean, there's one here. This one I built for my horror figures, and there's another one that I built, which I still haven't finished, but the interior is finished. It's a Gears of War room, and I did a custom line of all the Gears figures in their formal outfits, if you like. So, you know, they're all like Marcus, Dom, Baird, Carl. They're all in suits, as if they're in an office room in Marcus's garage / gym / whatever problem this is. And so I built those with the intentions of, you know, extending my skills into doing proper stuff. I think another guy that I watch is North of the Border. I watch a lot of his stuff, but he doesn't do collection, but he does, like, his is a lot of clay building. So he builds stuff out of clay, he paints them. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a favourite. It's just I watch quite a few different ones. I think Bolly Hobby I watch as well. Yeah, so it's I tend to stay away from collection videos at the moment. It's more diorama building and painting ones to try and adapt my skills and improve myself. But I mean, you know, if people do show off their collections in groups that I'm in on Facebook or whatever, you know, I love checking them out. So
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like seeing people's collection. As a collector myself, I think having connections with people's collections is great.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, other than the Friday the 13th group that seems to hate anyone, as I explained to you the other day, you know, showing off a figure, and two people decided to go absolutely nuts at me just for showing off a figure, and it's like, I thought this was meant to be a fan group. What the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah,
That must have been a weird experience. 'Cause,
yeah. I mean, just to give a bit of context, I've got the Jason 8-bit figure that I have. It's still factory sealed, so I was unsure on whether or not I should open it because I've been torn around with the option of opening it for photography, but I didn't want to open it and regret doing it. So I thought I'd leave it sealed, and I thought the best place to get that opinion would be a Friday the 13th fan group page that I was in. Apparently not. Apparently these people are offended by someone trying to get an opinion off a fan group, off a fan base. And apparently I was seeking attention, and I don't know. I was literally, yeah, I was literally just, yeah, just trying to get an opinion on whether or not I should open this figure, and everyone was like, "Hey, let's go in on this guy." Okay.
yeah. It's weird how certain groups can completely overreact just for a simple question. As such as, should I open or not? And you know, it's
99% of the people in that group were fine. I mean, a lot of them were confused. So I think a lot of them thought it was the game, because NECA used the same cover, but they obviously plastered NECA on it instead of Sega or NES or whatever stickers they had on it. And I did explain that it was the figure, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's the game. Just keep it sealed and emulate it." And it's like, okay, you're not grasping what it is that it is, but okay. But you know, being respectful, you just say to them, "Oh, it's actually the figure, not the game." You know, and a lot of them would just be like, "Oh, right, okay." But yeah, a lot of them would be like, "See it, keep it sealed." And there's a couple that were like, "No, open it. I've got mine open." So it was like, okay, yeah, good contrast. And then yeah, these two absolute jobs just like, "Oh, this guy's looking for attention." And one guy he was like, "Take a picture of it." Why? Take a picture of yourself holding it. Why? "Oh, you're too scared." It's like, yeah, but it's not that I'm too scared. Why?
Yeah,
it's like,
why do you want to see?
Yeah. And that's what I was asking him. Like, I don't understand it. Why do you want to see me holding it? Like, I've taken the picture, put it into the group. What more do you want? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Fan groups.
Well, there's a guy here, Monster, and he's I don't know his specific role. All I know is that he's in this Discord group.
Okay.
And a fellow member from our Gears group on Facebook is a part of. He's saying he wants to get you in the group. So he said, "We've got to get you in the group."
Okay.
So yeah. You two might sort that out.
Yeah. No worries.
All right. Question 10. Last question. Would you yourself ever commission your work, or are you one of those people that's kind of just for me?
I don't know, because like we said earlier, that the hardest thing is you do your work for yourself, and you're your own judge. So you're either going to say yes, it's good, no, it's not, and it's just whether or not you're charging someone however much money it is, and whether they're going to be happy with that. Because the problem is I've seen it before where a lot of people have had falling outs, and the person doing the commission have lost a lot of respect from people, and you know, a lot of, not so much respect, but their reputation has been ruined by one person absolutely bashing their work. And yeah, it's something that, like, I've got no issues doing it. It's something that hasn't come to me yet, but I think the only person that's ever asked me to do something for them is actually my partner. After she saw some of my stuff, she wanted me to make her a pink and gold Anya, but gothic style, like they black her hair out, and you know, try to make a bit of a goth styled Anya, because that's you know, she's a goth herself, so or was a goth, and having kids, she kind of, you know, that kind of scene kind of left. So, but you know, the emo phase is not just a phase. So, and yeah, so she's asking me, she's asked me to do that for her. So that's the only, you know, that's the only commission I've ever had. Not that I'd charge her, but what I might do. See how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, in the future, if yeah, like someone was to see something that I'd done and they wanted it themselves, like the Mario, the New Day, one of the RAMs. I mean, yeah, it's a discussion that I'd have to have with them because, like I said, it's working out the price that's suitable for everyone. Like you don't want to under quote the project, but you don't want to over quote it. You know, it's all about. But I mean, I think me and you had a discussion about it once, and you know, you were. I think it was the explanation of depending on the price, depends on whether they're supplying the parts, you've got to buy them. It's, you know, the paint, the time. So all of those factors come into it as to it's a yes or it's a no. So
Yeah, because it's one of, like, I think we spoke about it quite a few times. And you're right, the whole underselling your own work or overselling it, quite metaphorically and physically at the same time, is it's a very difficult thing to do when starting commissions. Because when I first started customizing, and as I first met you in the Facebook group, I always said no, never commissions. It's just my work for my collection. But eventually, and you are going to get it. I can promise you now, you're going to get it. There's going to be lots of demand when your work gets seen more and more, right?
yeah,
And it is good. It's nice to have your work appreciated, but you're right. It's how is it going to go? What is the initial price? And then you've got shipping depending on where it is. Like, because this shipping from UK to the States, depending on how many figures, what you're doing, can be anywhere between 25 to like £40, and that's just shipping. So, you know, then you got to take like you told me, like you got to take into consideration the cost of the actual figure if you're buying it and then they're paying you back for it, or if they're sending you the parts to work on. But the question goes around to the fact that, because obviously, like you said, you're still quite new to customizing, and you know you've not really had that happen as of yet. Do you, for example, thinking about doing stuff for yourself, does that feel more comfortable than the idea of someone asking you to do something for them?
I suppose in some essence it does, because if I'm making myself a custom, there's no time frame for it. Like at the moment so I in January I did my Mario figure, and because the idea that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do one custom a month to upload onto my YouTube, and then the original plan was I was going to add small videos into it, showing my collection and doing some figure reviews of what I have. And then being ill, I had to, because Luigi was meant to be done in February, but there was issues I had with the editing of the Mario video that really burnt me out on editing. So I was like, the Flame Boomer one that I did, inspiration from yourself, I knew it was going to be a quick and easy one. So it was like, yeah, okay. I was, like I said, I was ill as well, a short month. So it was done. There's no time frame. Then this month I started the Luigi figure and I've been ill, and it's coming towards the end of the month and I haven't even started editing yet. I'm still got a lot of it. The figure itself is mostly done. There's a few tweaks I've got to do, a few more detailing. I've got to paint the weapon, and then he is done. It's then just the editing process, and as long as that goes all right, it should be fine. But like if it was a commission and I said to someone, oh, I could do it within 2 weeks, it's been 3 weeks. So they would then be like, well, hang on a minute, you told me it'd be 2 weeks, and because I still haven't finished it could be another week. And it's because it's the same. Like, no, I have kids. I go to the gym. I work. So I only have a set after work before gym. I've got like 4 or 5 hours. So I don't always spend my time doing the customization. So it's, you know, I tend to do it when I can in any free time. So yeah, so having that time scale is the big kicker of it. So any sneak peek. I mean,
Yeah.
I can quickly do a sneak peek if you want to see.
Oh,
I
this
can
is awesome.
I can go get it.
It's up to you, man. It's
Yeah.
entirely your call.
Yeah, bear with me 1 second.
All right. This is awesome. By the way, guys, for anyone who's not following him yet on Instagram or subscribing to his YouTube, please do so. Right, he's an incredible guy, very talented, despite what he may think. Yes, it is. Appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. And I'm sorry that I've not been responding properly to like the message. I really wanted to try and do this interview fully first, and then I was going to, at the end of the interview, I was going to scroll through.
Hi. Like I said, the colouring isn't brilliant, but in terms of the gears thing, it works. So
Yeah.
managed to quickly tap his head. So
I love it, man. I love it.
because originally I was going to put him on with, I was going to just throw him on a Marcus body, but then I realised that the comparison between Luigi and Mario's the shorter, stouty one of the two, trying to be friendly, and Luigi is the leaner one. He's the taller, leaner one. Yeah. And going through my collection, I've got about 4 or 5 boxes of body parts everywhere. Like I'm finding things that I forgot I had, and I found this box, and it was just full of headless Gears bodies. I mean, like all of the Gears 3 line figures are all there headless. Like I don't even remember buying them. and I found the Judgment body, which is what this one is. I don't know if so, and it works a lot better than the bulky Gears one, and it goes in line with them a bit more. So, I mean, just them together.
That is so cool. That is so. I'm not even joking. Because I love, as you know, you've seen some of my work. I love unique customs, things that you wouldn't normally see, but someone wants to create, and that is.
I mean,
that's exactly
it's two worlds that you just would never. Gears of War and Mario. It's something. I mean, there's been like fan art of Mario in Gears armor, and you know, so, and I suppose it's, you know, in hindsight, or you know, retrospective, it's probably just something from that I've seen years back, and it's like saw the head, the figure in the shop, and I was like, actually, that would work. I mean, I will be doing a Baird-styled mini Luigi thing as well. So, yeah. So, bit of a sneak peek for Luigi.
That is awesome, though. It's so well done, and it's weird because in your mind you're like, it should not work.
No,
but it really does, and that's what I love about it.
The funny thing as well is a lot of today. I was carving out. I don't know if you can see around his neck. There's like a black ring.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can see. So if you have this figure, you would know that there's a neck there. I don't have I can't show you now because it's been cut out. But in the footage that I've recorded, you will see where I had to cut out that neck and make like a divot for him to sit in because it just looked ridiculous. Like obviously his neck's really thin, and it went into this. Yeah, I mean, it'd be something that would be done in the video footage on YouTube when I edit the whole thing together. But yeah, it just looked ridiculous. So I was like, oh, that's something that's gonna. I think that's roughly. I'd done most of the painting up until that point, and then I felt ill, and so I've had to work out digging the neck out, painting the gloves, and the little Luigi tag on his belt, which my daughter thought was a clock on his. So yeah, she was asking me why is there a clock on his body, and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
And kids' minds, I mean, I can get it. I understand why, but yeah, it's like, well, it's an L. So,
it's
but
just so good.
cheers, man.
It's right. It's just as I said, I love unique and intricate things like that. People that wouldn't think about it. And then I've always said it that customizing. The thing I love about it is that there's no such thing as impossible.
No,
I mean, you can. I mean, if you wanted to, you could make Scooby Doo a gear or a
yeah,
Locust, whichever you wanted to do. And seeing other people do that makes me so happy to see other people do it. And it's your paintwork as well. You very undermine your own work because your work is brilliant. I mean, like I said,
thank
with
you.
Xavier Woods, the Rams, the Ouija, man.
I mean,
I can't. It's so good.
like this is just the start because I've got a yeah, Daisy Peach. I can't remember the main princess that married it. I think it's Peach.
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up for whatever reason. I don't know why. But yeah, because obviously, yeah, I think she's going to be my next one. I've got Bowser, and I've just got to figure out whether or not Bowser is better to go on a Ferron body or a Boomer body. And then, like I said, it's then like down the line. I want to give Bowser a bit more of an army behind him, and I'm thinking of doing an army of Yoshi Ferrons. You know, and then in the line, you know, if you were on my Instagram around New Year's, I posted a load of like teaser posters of stuff that I was going to do, and one of which was a potential. It may not happen. It depends on how it works, but it's a Spyro Gears custom and a Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot is the character that got me into gaming,
Yeah.
and I can't think of any way to honour my favourite franchise, favourite Gears and Crash, combining them. So,
Yeah.
but that's something that's gonna take a bit of work to do to get it to work. It's just whether or not I can. So something down the line, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm in the Mario line, so get them.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I mean, if you ask anyone before this stream, if you ask anyone like, hey, do you think Mario and Luigi could make really good Gears figures? Guaranteed people go, it's not going to work. But seeing
it wouldn't work, but
seeing it side by side as well, seeing them together, I don't know what it was. It's just so cool.
Well, it looks like someone. You get those parody videos, don't you, on YouTube where someone's taken, instead of it being Marcus and Dom, it's Mario and Luigi running around. Yeah, it's because it's so out there. It looks ridiculous, but it's great. They're good fun to build.
Yeah, and I said they look great. Like just overall, not even the fact that it's fun to see. Like I said, just the paintwork as well, and it matches the fact that it's their colors, but it's the Gears universe.
Yeah,
and it looks more like armor than just it doesn't look like painted armor. It looks like that's the armor it was.
Yeah,
which is great, and it's very difficult to pull those looks off, and you've nailed it.
Right, I appreciate it, man.
That's all right. Like I said, always honesty, man. And I know people say, "Oh, you always seem over enthusiastic about people's work." I just love creativity, and especially stuff like that because it's unique,
Because I remember there was a time when we were talking about custom figures, and you showed me one that you were working on, and it was one that I was planning, and it was the Viking gears that you did. I remember you showed me them, and I was like, it's frustrating because I had that in mind. I was like, now you've done it. It's like, oh, come on, man. So like seeing other people's work, and it's great to see other people's stuff, how they've done it, and sometimes you can take inspiration from it. There's, if someone was to be like, oh, I saw Norva Ragnor do Mario, here's my version. I'm not going to be like, dude, you copied me. It'd be like, yeah, right, let's check it out.
Exactly.
I want to see your take on Mario and Gears of War. I don't want to see you copying me. I want to see your version of Mario, or that sort of thing. It's same as the flame boomer that I saw you do, and I thought, yeah, I want to do that. So I took inspiration. I think I even messaged you and asked you, look, this is what I want to do. Is that okay? And you were like, no need to ask, just do it. And I was like,
No,
well, yeah, but
no, it's yeah, I agree. Like, you don't. There's a lot of people who are like that, though, when they work on stuff and they're like, oh, don't duplicate my work, don't copy my work. Whereas, no, if you're going to do a version of something that we've done, go for it. We want to see it because it's going to look good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't own Mario. I don't own Gears of War. There's nothing stopping anyone doing it. So it's the case. Yeah, it's the case of, I would love to see other people doing it as well, and I'd love to see their version of it, because there's people out there that are better skilled than me, and they'll probably do a better job, and it would be amazing to see. It's so. But
we've actually had quite a lot of similar ideas.
We have, yes. Yeah. Weirdly enough, the ginger beards is a connection, or lack of ginger beards.
I got rid of mine the other day. I had to. It sucks. But I miss it. My face is cold. I feel naked. Yeah. It's really strange.
Weirdly cold here as well. So
it is. I mean, the weather can't make up its mind at the moment, because like the sun will come out and be really hot, and then all of a sudden it will just start pouring down the rain.
Yeah.
And it's happened. Typical UK weather. I went to do photography for the past 2 days, and I've gone, right, it's sunny. Put the figures in the bag. As soon as I get downstairs.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one similar idea we had was this guy.
I vaguely remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, my locust, who was different from other locusts.
Yeah.
Spoke differently, thought differently, was treated like the runt. He broke free, surrendered to the gears, and then ended up working for them. We ended up having very similar,
similar to my one, yeah.
Very similar ideas. And it's awesome. And the thing is, even though they're similar ideas, they are very different. Like, your story is very different from my story. Your look is very different from my look. And the thing is, and even though it started on similar ideas, they became two completely different and unique characters.
But this is what I was on about earlier on, about, you have the same ideas, but it's your own version of it. So yours went, like your idea, the Locust dons Gears armor. My one dons Ferron armor, and he bleached his armor to match his. Just give a bit of context. My one, he's an albino Locust, and he was seen as an abomination within the Locust horde. So the Queen sent him to the Hollow to fight the Lambent, and basically to die. But because of his albino scales, his scales were thicker than regular Locusts. So it turned out that he was able to endure a hell of a lot more damage. And over the course of the war in the Hollow, he started gathering a following who would brandish his colours. They would just follow him. He did not care. He never followed the Queen. Hence why he took the Queen's colours of the red armour that he found in the Hollow, and brandished it his own colour, because he was his own. It's his own thing. And that's basically his story. There is more to it, but I won't go too much into it here. But so I was saying, we had the same premise of a Locust that was different, and they both went different ways, and it's the same with what I was just saying about the people copying, but it's more inspiration. They take your idea and they do their own spin on it, and it's great. It's great to see. That's the whole point of customs, and
it's a really good community for customization, especially for when you do inspire each other and get inspiration from others, because you're not stealing work. Like I said, our ideas, and especially for that custom anyway, because we weren't like talking full time at that point. No. I'd only just joined the group, so we didn't know about each other's plans at all. And then posted it, and then you sent me the story. I was like, wow, there are a lot
Yeah,
of similarities, and it was so good. I didn't go, oh no, he's like, he had this idea first.
yeah,
Oh, I feel evil. It was like, oh no, this is actually pretty. And then you put them together, and yet again,
yeah.
another beautiful custom. You have to check it out. Like in the pictures on Instagram, I think he's on there. He's got to be on there.
Which one?
Is he on there? The albino custom. He's got to be.
I think he is briefly. I don't think I've taken too many of him, but I'll get some and I'll throw him up and a bit of a backstory on him
Yeah,
for those that are interested.
Oh, they're interested. They are interested.
Yeah.
Because it's yet again, that's a bonus question I was actually going to ask you, which is what do you find more interesting custom wise for you? Do you find it more interesting working on like in-game custom characters that like exist already that don't have figures, or as we can see by a lot of your work, do you enjoy more sort of the unique out of the box, want to bring something else in custom?
Yeah. I mean, if I was to attempt to make a Ty or a Dizzy, you've got to get figures that look like them. You've got there's a limitation of what you can do. So you've got to sculpt. You've got to get this. You've got to get it looking good.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't have the confidence in my abilities to be able to pull off a decent lookalike Ty, Dizzy, Myra. So for me, yeah, I mean, I love making customs that are out there. The Mario figures I absolutely love doing, to the point where it was only meant to be one. It was only meant to be Mario, and now it's Luigi. And then I've got Bowser and one of the princesses in ready to go. I've got the parts. It's just waiting to do it. And then it's okay, right. Once I've done that, I'm going to add more. But I also, when I was a teenager in college, I used to do a lot of writing as well. So a bit of a nerdy thing. I did media studies in college, and so I did a lot of creative writing in my spare time. And the one thing for me is, when you create a custom character from scratch, it's building the backstory. And for me, building backstories for characters that sit in an already established lore is great. I'm not making up characters for a lore that doesn't exist in a world that I've made myself. It's okay, well, I've made this character. Where does he fit in the Gears of War universe? For example, there's a custom that I've had planned for a long time. It's just, he's going to be a very difficult one to do, and I'm putting it off because it's going to be a difficult one to do. But the idea is, he was the Pharaoh that worked his way up in the ranks, and it took the notice of Ram, who employed him to be the same level as the Pharaoh elite around that same time. But this particular Pharaoh has pinpoint accuracy. So when I do end up making him, the visor on the I don't know if I've got the Pharaoh around. It's the...
Is it the elite sharp one, or is it like the more rounded?
Yes. So this is the sharp one. It's the opposite one. I mean, that's my shadow Pharaoh. That's a different one. But so this though, when the silver plate across the face will actually be like a visor. So and in the helmet there'd be the HUD movements and all this high tech stuff. But he'd be wielding a sniper, and he will be like a Snowy-esque Pharaoh who is actually in charge of the defense of Mount Kadar. And during the time in Gears 2, when you travel up there, the defense that you're taking out is his army, but he isn't there at the time, which is why it's so easy to breeze through. And it's the case is, like, I think the story I had in mind is there's like what are they called? What are the faction called in Gears? I've forgotten what they're called. The ones that don't deal with the gear, the cogs. Stranded.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah, Stranded.
Oh,
Yeah.
brains on fire. But yeah, so then there's like a stranded settlement down in the cliff, and he takes a small squad with him to go deal with them. And then
Okay.
while he's away, the Mount Kadar gets attacked, which then leads to the Hollow being sunk. So by the time he comes back, like the Hollow's sunk, the Queen's vanished. So he's a bit like, well, what the hell's happened? So
Yeah.
he then becomes a savage, like if you like, who starts hating himself and the locust, and he goes on a warpath against the savage locust because he
Nice.
feels that because they've abandoned the queen, they're not deserving. So he basically goes into a high sort of religious-esque styled hunt of savage locusts who,
So good.
yeah. So he's one that's going to be quite difficult to make, but so coming up with that backstory for me was a lot of fun
Yeah.
because it started out with just he's a good sniper. Okay, well, where can I put him in this timeline? Okay, well, he's in the same he's seen in the same scale as the Pharaoh Elite. Okay,
Yeah.
but you don't see him in the game, so how is it he can be there but not there? Okay, well, at the time he gets given the defense of Mount Kadar. All right, so how is it we don't see him in that back? So that's how I work things out.
Yeah.
It's trying to work things out in a way that is explainable. It's physically possible that he's a real character, but we just don't see him. So that's how I like to come up with the story. So I mean, having them be lore 100% would be great, but
Yeah.
custom's fine at the moment. But yeah,
Oh,
making the stories is half of the fun of building the custom. So
it is. I agree, and I'm nowhere near as good as you as storytelling. Like my stories are pretty reasonably short and simple. You do give really good in-depth detail on your stories. I think for both of us, I think one of our customs becoming official Gears of War lore would be
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. But do you think there's one character that you've made or that you will make that if for some reason the company was ever go, hey, like we saw your work, we like your backstory, we like your custom, is there one that you would love the most to really make it in?
It would either be the albino one, or because he was my very very first custom figure.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason for that is he's very simple. It was literally painting a helmetless Pharaoh white, and then his armor off white grey, and then rusting it up and dirtying it up. So in terms of what it actually is, it wasn't difficult to do, but because it was my very first one, it was still a massive leap of what I have ever been able to do. So for me, him being the one would be great, or my snowy Pharaoh. I think just the concept of his whole story from start to end would make it even like a little comic series. I think that would be great. But
yeah,
who knows if Coalition are watching, which I highly doubt it. But hit me up.
I'd love it if they were. No.
Yeah.
But yet again though, if you do join the group with like the Discord thing with Monster and that, there is a guy in there that I spoke to, which he mentioned earlier. He said earlier, if we need anything, talk to him, Brimdol, or a guy called Parasidian. And Brimdol we know from the Facebook group.
Okay.
I think he goes by the name of Burnside. I think we've seen him quite a lot in that group.
Yeah.
Postings. When he introduced me to the group, I got the shock of my life, and you might do the same, because Parasidian is a very important guy for the company. And
oh, really?
He's seen work, and he actually looks at other people's work and quite likes it, and I didn't know. And yet again, like everyone else is, which as a customizer, you feel happy, but you also feel a bit like, everyone's favorite custom I've made is Sergeant Bull.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Sergeant Bull, and I've made loads, but this is the one that everyone seems to like the most. And I'm like, okay. Look, all I did was add some horns in a loop and painted him, and that's the backstories are so important to customs, even if they're like even if they're characters that we know but that are just in the universe, even changing their story a little bit just to fit somewhere is beautiful. And I don't think a custom figure works without a backstory as well as it would with one.
It depends on what you're doing. If you're wanting just to make I want to make a Pharaon have black armor, then I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like with my Rams, I've got Gilded Ram, Heroic Ram. There's no backstory for them because they are literally just skins from the game. Playing the multiplayer, Ram was one of my main Locust characters. So, and I'd always go Gilded, Heroic, and I'd change it up all the time. But I felt like, well, why not? Let's do it. You know, the only one that has backstory is the Recruit Ram, because I think people would be like, why is he in red armor? You know, there isn't a red armored Ram, so what's that about? So there's this backstory. It's him being, you know, when. You know, cause if you know Ram's story, you know that he was he rose really quick in the ranks of Pharaons. So it's just something to have physical of him in that time. Plus, I had 4 Rams around, so I was like, why not? You know, but I think having a backstory on certain it definitely helps. So,
yeah, I guess you're right. Like depending on the custom, but I mean, even with like your like heroic and gilded armor, there's still a little backstory. Like, why has he got this armor? You can still create mini story, but either way, if it's a custom that's not an already existing character in like alternate attire, but it's hard to explain to words. I can't. It's weird because you think you know what you're gonna say, but the words don't quite make it. But like for example, like the albino, like people say, oh, it's a Theron in white, and then you look close and it's like, no, there's a scar. Actually, no, his color's different. No, hang on, he's not. What is he? Because he doesn't look like a Theron now. And then and then you go, oh, well, actually, there's a story. Then when you read the story and you look at the custom, you go, that's it. There it is. So the backstory really helps sell it, but I think with customs as well, and especially with yours, like I said, we see it all the time. You can see the passion in your work.
Thank you.
Right.
Appreciate it.
That's all right. I said I don't mean to be, but I'm quite honest with people, and I tend to, if it's something that I like, I will be overly pleased about it, and I will say all the nicest things I can because I genuinely like it. If I don't, I won't say much about it because I'd rather say nothing at all than be too critic. But I can't critique anyone because my work's shit. But
I wouldn't say that, but you've got some good stuff. So a lot of your customers are great as well.
That's the thing. I think as creators, we know we're never going to fully like our own work the way other people like our work, and that's okay. Because it's more about other people appreciating what we've done, you know, on top of us liking it too. That kind of helps. But you can always tell when someone's got love for a character they're creating because it doesn't look like a custom at the end of it. And that's where a lot of your work really pays off.
I mean, because I think we had this discussion back when I made the New Day guy, and I said it's like, if I don't feel like working on it, I won't. It's because I mean, everyone does it. You have days where you're like, I'm really hyped to get on, let's get it done, and you work through it, you enjoy it. But then if you throw yourself onto it when you're not feeling it, you're not going to do the job properly. You're not going to do a good enough work for it, and you're either going to be disappointed in the fact that you've done a poor job on it, and potentially give yourself more work to cover it up. You know, and it's just like for me, it's very much a go. You know, it sort of goes round back to when you know, talking about doing work for people. You know, time frame. I don't give myself a time frame. I mean, I give myself a month to get the figures done, so I want to do a video per month. But I know within that month I will mostly be able to get it done. So as opposed to giving myself a week to get it done, then at least 5 days in that week I've had no motivation. I've just haven't been having bad days, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort of that, you know, if you put the time and effort into it, it shows in the customs.
Yeah. You-
Well,
You're
hopefully, anyway,
right.
that's the way.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, biggest advice you can give anyone is don't work on something unless you really want to. Don't, because
Yeah,
you don't want to ruin it, or you don't want to feel guilty or upset with what you've done. You want to feel like you've done a good job, and the only way you can do that is by doing it when you really know you want to. You know?
yeah.
And that's good. So I was going to ask you before this stream ends, like, is there any advice you want to give anyone
All
who's a
right.
customizer? And that, I mean, is there any other advice you want to give as a customizer to people who might start thinking about it? Or...
I don't know. I mean, in terms of advice, I'm probably the worst one at the moment because I'm still quite new to it myself. But yeah, it's just if you're going to work on something, just don't rush it. You know, if it's something, if it's a project for yourself, there's no time frame where it needs to be completed in. I've had figures that I've worked and completed it within a week. I've had other ones that I've had lying around for months. Well, I just haven't had any motivation to do it. And when I do, okay, I feel motivated. Let's get to it, and it you know, you enjoy it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Because if you work on it when you're not motivated, you're going to get frustrated with it. Because sometimes painting can be really frustrating, especially
Yeah.
Gears figures. I mean, the comparison between painting the Mario figure and Luigi figure is night and day. Painting Mario was a blast. It was so easy. The paint stuck on well. Painting Luigi, Jesus, it was like sandpaper. It just
Yeah.
because, and I think it's because there's on the marker's body that there's a lot more plating, so the paint the figure's a lot more smooth,
Yeah.
as opposed to the Judgment bed where it's a lot of fabric texture. So you paint it and then
Yeah.
there's loads of little holes appearing and you're like, okay, well, you've got to go over it 3-4 times and then you've got to dab on it. And it was a lot more hard work than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
And had it been a time where I was doing it where I was like, I'm really not feeling this, I probably would have got frustrated and rushed it and ruined it and painted over bits I didn't want to paint.
Yeah.
But I did it when I was motivated, and it was frustrating. Cause it was like, oh, come on, man, like this, why ain't this paint sticking? And when I realised, okay, you've got to do it this way, it was still frustrating, but it was, yeah, you're just like, whatever, you know, you'd laugh it off kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the main advice for anyone that is looking at entering customization, and have plenty of like preparation work.
Yeah.
Like with the Mario, I don't know if they're on my Instagram, but there's a lot of I did like a poster of Mario's head on Marcus's body, and I basically painted the armor behind a load of weird backgrounds and that. But yeah, and that was just like a bit of a concept art to see how it would look, because I wasn't too sure if I wanted my Mario to be just the heads or a painted body, and I wasn't 100% sure on which style I wanted. So I made I had the two pictures side by side, one painted, one unpainted, and I was like, actually, it looks better painted. So yeah, I think have a lot of preparation work going into your custom. Don't rush it. Just enjoy working on it. That's, you know.
Yeah. Completely agree, man. And painting, you're right. Painting it can also, I don't know if you noticed this, painting can knacker you out. It can make you so tired because of the focus.
Yeah, especially when you've got to do intimate painting and the fine lining and
because it's
fine
such a weird
line and
thing.
painting is horrible.
See, I struggle so much with that, but I got so jealous of the new day. I say it all the time. I did. As soon as that picture was posted, I go, oh, come on. Like, this is...
Well, I mean, to give you a bit of, I don't know, when you find paint, how do you do it? Do you just do it freehand?
Well, I try as best I can. I've got like a tiny thin brush.
Yeah.
I instead of painting on top of, I'll kind of go to a side and then try and just follow a line. if there's like a seam in the armor, I'll follow
Yeah.
that instead of going straight into it first. But the detailing, I try and freehand, and it sucks. It sucks. Trying to do a circle is so impossible.
I mean,
And
I did. Yeah, like the circle on the Luigi bell is not great, but that was freehand.
it's good though.
I mean, it's freehand, but there's like a circle thing there, so I have a bit of a tracing to do, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, freehand in details like that is very, very difficult. But
Yeah.
the technique I use if I'm fine lining is I'll have the figure in a place and I'll make sure the area that I'm painting is as clear as possible. And I hold the brush in one hand, lock my hand in, and then lock it into my desktop that I'm working on.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, I don't do long strips. I do little bits. So yeah. I won't do like a long ass line because yeah, my hand's wonky as anything. But I do little bits, and then work it down, and it's how it works for me. So
yeah, it does it. So I can't. I see the Luigi there, and I can't not look at it.
It's so out of place, isn't it? You've got all the Gears figures.
That's the thing. It's not out of place. It looks like it belongs there. It's just so cool.
I mean, like color-wise, like you've got all the dark horror stuff over here. You've got the Gears guys, then you've got a bright ass Luigi just popping up.
I'm going to be loving that all night now. It's going to be the only thing in my mind.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you coming on and doing this. It's been amazing to talk to you properly, like vocally and stuff.
I mean, it's the first time we've had a proper conversation out of Facebook or Instagram message or whatever. So
that's true because it's mostly messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's been awesome.
Sliding in the DMs.
That was supposed to be secret.
Yeah.
No, but it's been awesome, and I appreciate you for agreeing to do it, and it's been amazing. So thank you.
Being good fun. Thanks for having me on, man.
That's all right. And yeah, so a couple of people, Monster and Simon Gleason, said they're following you now on Instagram. And
thank you guys. Appreciate it.
The YouTube link in the description after this and stuff, so they can go.
Yeah. If anyone does want to check it out, I mean, my YouTube's very mix and match. There's videos, gaming videos, and then there's custom stuff. So it's mixed. It's all over the place. I think there's videos on there from when I was in college. So yeah, fun stuff. But
yeah, it's the thing is like even your custom video, like the Mario one you did, it's so professionally done for someone who doesn't do those kind of videos that often.
Yeah, thank you, man.
It's like, oh man, it's like I've been doing YouTube videos since 2012, 2013, and all mine look like mediocre things. You do this one custom video of Mario, and I'm like, this is like, how can I? My videos look like just a child holding a camera going, this is my toy. Hello. But you've got this beautiful, entertaining video where it's, dude, you're gonna go very far in the community now, more so than you ever thought, because it works good, presentation's good, passion.
Thank you, man.
It's all right. Well, thank you to everyone who stopped by and said hello, and that is following Norva Ragnor now. And yes, this was fun. I hope you all had a good time watching. Sorry if I rambled.
It's been fun being on here. It's you don't really get to talk to many people properly about customs and figures, so it's good fun.
Yeah, and it was good to learn other people's like preparations, experiences, styles, and it helps other people, learn new things. Right, so it is about 5 minutes to 10 at night.
Damn.
So yeah, we
just under 2 hours. Jesus.
Yeah, so we're gonna call it a night. Thank you all again. Hope you all have a great weekend, and just thanks again for taking part in this, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me. Cheers, guys.
Always. Bye bye.